Many companies prohibit romantic relationships between employees. Some even threaten with termination of employment. And there's a logical explanation for that. Mixing personal and professional relationships can make it impossible to work together and to achieve true emotional closeness between two people. Nevertheless, people fall in love with their colleagues. Why? First, we know that attraction and falling in love are, for most part, out of our control. Secondly, the longer and the more often we interact with a person, the more likely we're to have romantic feelings towards them. So what can be done? Try to critically assess the situation to understand which way do you want it to develop? Which stage of the relationship are you at? Are you flirting? Or is it already a full-fledged romance? To get a better understanding of the situation, try answering these questions. First, are you in love with your colleague, or rather, are you attracted to his role at work? When we observe a person in their role, for example, a role of a successful manager, we can easily idealize them. And yes, when we fall in love, we tend to idealize. But don't forget that many of us try really hard to make the best possible impression at work, and it's sometimes difficult to make out the real person. At home, on the other hand, we feel freer to be real. At home, we can show our shady sides. You probably know at least one extroverted optimist who at work is chatty and hyper, but when he gets home, he turns into a gloomy and silent kind of person. Well, people like that get really tired of playing their role at work, and when they get home, they look like a squeezed orange. So, how do you think your crush behaves at home, outside of work? Are you attracted to his status at work? That he's your boss, or on the contrary, your subordinate? Or maybe this, does not really knowing the person and isolating yourself from true intimacy make him attractive for you? That is, are you scared of getting truly close to someone? And here we come to the second important question. How do your professional and romantic relationships affect each other? Is there a conflict of interest, subordination, or competition issues in your work? If so, what are the risks to the quality of your work and the interests of your mutual colleagues? Does the pattern of power sharing or competition manifest themselves in your personal relationships? Power or competition issues at work can create conflict and destroy your personal relationships. Carl Jung said, "Where there is power, there can be no love." And paradoxically, power can become a strong driver for attraction. All our actions have an underlying profit. So ask yourself, am I falling in love with my boss because I want to obey him in love? Or do I want to bear less responsibility this way by having a romantic relationship with him? And lastly, the most important question, will you be able to freely leave this relationship, and what will be the consequences for you and your partner? Who is more vulnerable in your relationship? In this situation, in terms of power and career positions, who is more powerful in your working relationship? Mixing work and love often becomes a mess. You see, inequality in working relationships is a normal thing. One person is the boss, while the other one is the subordinate. But when inequality comes to personal relationships, that may become a serious problem. And it will carry certain risks. So if you foresee that when you break up, you'll have more problems, then most likely you are entering or have already entered into an unequal relationship. And a relationship where one partner has power over the other, in our case, power over another person's career and business reputation, that's fertile ground for the use of violence by the person in power. If you have not yet entered into a relationship, if you are still just flirting, then listen to yourself. What does your heart tell you? Do you feel some kind of discomfort or fear? Even a vague one? Perhaps you fear that if you refuse courtship, then you'll get in trouble at work? Or are you afraid that your boyfriend will spread rumors? If you've answered yes, then Most likely, workplace harassment is already happening. Do you want to enter into a relationship that starts with violence? Having said all that, it's your decision whether to enter into a romantic relationship at work or not. But first, answer the above questions. Make this decision carefully, taking into account the risks and possible distortions of perception. Have a wonderful rest of your day, and we'll see you next time.